If you're trying harder than ever to make your relationship feel safe again, this might land a little differently than you expect. Because most people don't lose safety because they stop caring. They lose it because they stop reaching for closeness in the only ways they know how. More talking, more explaining, more fixing, more emotional effort. And when none of that settles the tension in the body, the fear creeps in quietly. Why doesn't this feel better yet? If that question feels familiar, stay with me, because what actually builds safety isn't what most of us have been taught to do. You're listening to Coupled With, the podcast that helps you take the guesswork out of feeling seen, heard, and valued in your relationship. If you've ever felt stuck in the same arguments, struggled to stay connected, or wondered how to better communicate with your partner, you're in the right place. I'm Dr. Rachel Orlick, a couples therapist and coach, and together, we're going to make relationships make sense. Let's dive in. Here's what I want to name right away. A lot of what we call working on the relationship is actually the continuation of coping. Problem solving instead of pausing, explaining instead of feeling, defending instead of staying present, or going quiet and denying your own needs so things don't escalate. None of these behaviors are bad. They're strategies your nervous system learned when closeness felt risky. But here's the part that hurts. When coping runs the repair, the cycle gets louder, not safer. Conversations stretch on. Each explanation creates another miss. Each attempt to fix leaves someone feeling unseen. On the outside, it looks like effort. On the inside, the body is still braced, still waiting for something it can trust. This episode is about why your nervous system doesn't calm down from big talks or grand gestures, and why safety is rebuilt in a very different way. Love starts to feel safer again through micro moments, small, repeatable signals of care that don't require you to disappear. Not everything feels good. Sometimes it's just a little less defended, a little more honest, or a little more real. A lot of you are listening because you're not avoiding closeness. You're actually doing what you believe a good, responsible partner does. You bring things up, you try to talk them through, you try to be intentional, and you still keep ending up in the same place. An hour or two into the conversation, emotionally fried, with that strange mix of, we covered everything and nothing feels better. This is the moment clients describe with so much confusion. Something small happens, a tone, a missed text, a distracted response, and one of you feels that tiny drop in the stomach. Not panic yet, just a flicker. So you do what you believe is the right thing. You bring it up, you try to be clear, you try to be fair, and within minutes, the air changes. Now it's not just about the text. It's about what it means and whether someone cares, and about the relationship itself. Then, coping shows up wearing a trench coat labeled as communication. One person starts explaining, clarifying, problem solving, trying to land the sentence that will finally make it click. The other starts defending, minimizing, or going quiet. Not because they don't care, but because the nervous system hears pressure and braces. Or you do the version that looks the most mature on paper. You swallow your need, smooth it over, and become the calm one, hoping calm will keep connection intact. But your body keeps score, and it knows the difference between peace and disappearance. Here's what's brutal. When coping runs the repair, the cycle intensifies. You keep talking because you're trying to get relief. You rehash, you explain intentions, you apologize, and still something inside doesn't unclench. It's like the nervous system is quietly asking, are you actually with me? Are my needs allowed here without being argued with, fixed, or made inconvenient? That's often when people reach out for the big reset, the big talk, the promise, the dramatic moment of reassurance. But the body can't trust a one-off performance. It trusts what happens next. And then what happens after that? And after that. Safety doesn't return all at once. Sometimes it's just a small softening, a moment where honesty doesn't cost connection. So this is where most people make a painful but understandable mistake. They assume the problem is effort. If we could just communicate better, regulate faster, choose better words, stay calmer, then safety would come back online. So they either double down on trying or they start pulling away because trying hurts too much. But the real problem isn't that you're not doing enough. It's that you're trying to build safety using strategies designed to manage threat and not create trust. So here's the reframe that can start to change things. Safety isn't created by intensity, insight, or emotional output. It's created by predictability. Your nervous system isn't asking, did we talk through this thoroughly enough? It's asking, what usually happens when I speak up? What usually happens when I'm disappointed? What usually happens after a rupture? When those answers include defensiveness, explanation, self-denial, or emotional escalation, the body is going to stay alert, no matter how much you process. This is why problem solving often backfires. When hurt is met with fixing or explaining, the intention might be to care, but the impact can feel like dismissal. And staying calm at all costs doesn't feel regulating if it requires you to disappear. Your body can't relax in a system where connection depends on editing yourself into something more acceptable. Coping strategies can look like maturity. They sound reasonable. They even get praised. But when they consistently override someone else's emotional reality, they quietly erode trust. Over time, closeness starts to feel like work, not because the love is gone, but because honesty has learned to expect friction. The shift isn't to stop communicating or care less. It's to stop confusing coping with connection. Safety grows in the ordinary moments when nothing dramatic is happening, when needs are allowed instead of negotiated away, when impact matters more than intent, when repair doesn't require convincing. From a nervous system perspective, none of this is surprising. Closeness isn't just connection, it's exposure. When you get emotionally close, your body isn't just registering warmth and love. It's also registering dependence, vulnerability, and the possibility of loss. That's why intimacy can feel soothing and threatening at the same time. This is where attachment comes online. Your nervous system learned early what closeness costs. Did it bring comfort or unpredictability? Did needs get met, or did they create tension or withdrawal? Those answers didn't live in your thoughts. They lived in your body. So when closeness increases now, Your system scans automatically. Am I safe here, or do I need to protect myself? For some people, protection looks like leaning in, monitoring, seeking reassurance. For others, it looks like pulling back, numbing, or staying surface level. Different behaviors, same goal. Reduce the risk. Once those protective responses are online, communication starts doing a different job. Words stop being bridges and start becoming armor. Even calm conversations can feel exhausting because two nervous systems are working overtime to stay safe rather than stay connected. That doesn't mean your system is broken. It means that it's efficient. It's learned how to survive closeness when closeness felt complicated. Safety grows when the body experiences enough moments where connection doesn't require vigilance, performance, or self-abandonment. That's why micro moments matter. The nervous system doesn't reorganize around promises or intentions. It reorganizes around experience. Each small moment of being met without defensiveness becomes data. Over time, that data reshapes expectation. It can help to zoom out and look at the system the relationship is running on. Not good or bad, but what's organizing connection in real time. Two relationships can have the same level of care and commitment and still feel completely different in the body. In one system, coping is leading. Connection is organized around preventing that rupture. Tension creates more urgency, conversations will speed up. There's pressure to clarify, resolve, and smooth things over as quickly as possible. Even repair feels tight, like it has to be done just right. In this system, effort is high, but safety is thin. One person may work hard to explain and prove care, while the other feels overwhelmed or erased. Or both partners take turns over-functioning just to keep the peace. From the outside, it can look devoted. Inside, the nervous system stays braced for impact. In another system, safety is leading. That doesn't mean less honesty or less care. It means connection moves at the pace of regulation and not urgency. There's room for unfinished conversations, emotional discomfort, and small doses of distance without panic. Repair is less about convincing and more about restoring a sense of being met. Safety-led connection doesn't always feel good. Sometimes it feels slower or more tender, but the body begins to relax because it no longer is fearing being overridden. The difference isn't effort. It's what the nervous system has learned to trust. This is usually where people expect a list. But the most important shift here isn't adding a new technique. It's changing what you're tracking. Instead of asking, did we fix it? You could start asking, did anything soften? Did someone stay present instead of defend? Did honesty land without punishment? And did the body feel even a fraction less braced? Micro moments aren't grand gestures or performative calm. They're small choices that show the nervous system what actually happens here. Letting a feeling exist without explaining it away. Allowing space without making it mean withdrawal. Naming impact without justifying intent. These moments don't always feel relieving. Sometimes they feel awkward or exposing. But the body learns safety through repetition, not just reassurance. One good conversation cannot override 100 moments of dismissal. And one hard moment doesn't erase a pattern of care. The nervous system is quietly watching what happens next. And then after that, and after that. Over time, those signals begin to outweigh older learning. Safety often shows up not as happiness, but as less urgency, less defensiveness, and more room to breathe. If closeness has felt harder than you expected, I want to slow down this moment before you turn it into a verdict. Difficulty doesn't mean your relationship is failing. It doesn't mean you chose wrong. It means you're in a real relationship with real nervous systems, trying to stay connected under real pressure. Long-term relationships aren't built to live at the peak of intimacy. They move between closeness and normal distance and repair. When you stop measuring love by intensity, something softens. Distance stops feeling like danger, and hard feelings stop feeling like emergencies. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you get more honest about what builds safety. You learn to notice when coping takes over and gently orient back to presence when you can. Not perfectly, just often enough. Slow doesn't mean broken, and small doesn't mean insufficient. Micro moments are how trust grows without force. They're how love becomes safe again without anyone disappearing to earn it. You're not behind. You're just learning how to build a relationship that can actually hold real life. One that bends instead of breaks. And that capacity is built moment by moment, even if safety has never felt easy before. That's it for today's episode of Coupled With. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to hit subscribe so you never miss what's next. And if you found it helpful, please share it with a friend or leave a quick rating and review. It really helps more than you know. And if you're curious about how we might work together or want more resources to strengthen your relationship, head over to my website, www.drrachelorlick.com. You'll find free tools, podcast extras, and ways to go deeper. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you next time.